could hardly think of where to start or what to say. To say the least, this year has been different, very different. So many things have happened: social distancing, virtual learning, quarantining at home without face-to-face interactions with friends, the constant news of more COVID infections and deaths, shutdowns, reopenings, then more shutdowns. Some of us witnessed friends spiral down a dark mental path, not knowing if we were doing enough to help them. After a while, I was not sure what the normal things even were. It is difficult to make sense of everything that has happened. As we make our transition to high school, we will decide what paths we would like to choose for our future. From elementary school, we have been prescribed the same script over and over again: the need to get on the path for success, college. And for some students, including myself, this is the path we intend to choose. Although college graduates statistically make more money than their non-college counterparts, only 41% of college graduates actually work in the field that they get graduated in. And more than 65% come out of college in debt, forced to move back home with parents, accept jobs they're not excited to just to pay off. Debt falling into lockstep with society's pre-planned future of work, bills, and taxes. The number of people suffering from mental illness has skyrocketed, while the same paths have been prescribed. Frankly, if this pandemic has taught me anything, it is that college may not be the only path you can or should choose. Specialized trades like plumbers, electricians, carpenters, freelancers, and artists have been declining. Yet they are important to our society, and many also manage to become highly skilled, rewarding, and lucrative careers. Sometimes I think if college wasn't always perceived as the only way to guarantee success, would there be more people pursuing their true passions like the arts or in caretaking for the elderly or special needs? As for my brother, perhaps he would have been more inclined to choose a career as a musician or an artist rather than following my father's footsteps as an engineer. It is not to say that he made the wrong decision, because he didn't. My father and my Aunt Joey graduated from college, whereas my uncles Kurt and Rusty chose to go into the trades. They are all examples of how you can have a successful career with college degrees as well as without. Personal choices can affect each person differently, and we have to look deeply into what makes us happy, what allows us to thrive. Thankfully, we have the next 4 years to decide what paths we would like to choose. All I hope is that you choose the path that brings you joy, because at the end of the day, we all have intrinsic value regardless of the educational or career choices that we make. Parents and teachers, we may only be kids, but what you adults prescribe us today affects the way that we see and rule the future tomorrow. Let me share a time lapse of my memories here at Twin Peaks. 6th grade. 6th grade had all of the normal activities one would expect: orientation, camp, Olympics, and the bowling or pool field trip. We had field trips. It's crazy to think that within these 3 years, we were the only class lucky enough to get the chance to do Olympics. Compared to the lockdown, 6th grade was pretty amazing, even if a few of us tripped and ate it on the hurdles. I personally got swallowed up by the mats that were supposed to break my fall on high jump and suffered a mild concussion. Now moving on to 7th grade. For most of the year, everything had gone normally. We had a movie in the quad and a winter dance. Everything went as planned until March 13th, 2020. It's kind of odd thinking back to that day. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news? I remember vividly sitting in Mrs. Wallace's 3rd period social studies class. The announcement that we would be missing school for 3 weeks. Like many of my classmates, I felt worried and confused. Well, that 3 weeks turned into 3 months, and that 3 months turned into 30 years. Or so I thought, or at least it felt like it. 8th grade. Thinking back, I believe everyone tried to make the most of it with the resources we were given. In October, following all safety guidelines, we had a movie in the quad, and just this past March, some of us finally got the chance to come back to school in person to finish up our time here. In the past few weeks, we managed to have the TIP picnic, the ABCs of Spirit Days, the 8th grade breakfast, the grade level movie nights, and even this promotion. While this year felt like a game of red light, green light, I believe that we have all fought through this as well as we could have. There are definitely things we can learn from, but I believe that if we work together, we can use this past year as fuel for us to grow and achieve many wonderful things. No matter what path you choose, be it an artist, engineer, caretaker, doctor, independent journalist, or even a YouTuber, do it with honesty and integrity and leave a positive mark on this world. Finally, I would like to leave you with a quote by Robin Sharma. Stop being the prisoner of your past, become the architect of your future. So, Twin Peaks class of 2021, remember our past, use it to build a more stable foundation where everyone, regardless of race, gender, or socioeconomic class, is treated with equity, equality, and kindness. Let's build a world worth living in moment by moment. Thank you.
How about another big hand for Ellie Rousseau, our ASB president? All right, it gives me great pleasure next to call up to the podium Mr. Greg Mizell,